Ladies and gents, it's Monday lunchtime, and our Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, a 5'6", platform-shoed, not the most intimidating or frightening build of a man, it has to be said. I mean, if ever there was something that he was to be the authority on, I suppose it would be the things that he personally finds intimidating or scary. Wouldn't it be? Like, that would be his specialist subject. Like, you could actually listen to him about that. Well, anyway, he's given a speech today, this morning, about all the reasons that you should be scared, or scared into, voting Conservative at the coming election. That he is, personally, too scared to call. So, join me now as I try to make sense of this utter nonsense. Let's get into it.
Thank you for that warm welcome. Now, at some point in the second half of this year, we will all go to the polls and make a choice. Not just about Conservatives versus Labour, or Sunak versus Starmer. It will be a choice between the future and the past. Now, I remain confident that my party can prevail, not because of our record alone.
Not because of our record alone. I'm gobsmacked. I wish that there was an editor at Sky News who could have just, put a soundbed of, canned laughter there. That's what that deserved. That not just because of our record. What is your record?
Not because of our record alone, but because we will...
What have you actually achieved in 14 years?
Not because of our record,
but because we will be the only party really talking about the future.
Let me tell you something, right? The only reason that this guy wants to talk about the future is because, he's the same as a cheating husband who wants his wife to just move on from what, it's all in the past. Why do you have to bring up the past all the time, darling? I'm thinking about our future and where we're headed. You're thinking about our future, are you? Were you thinking about that when you were unloading your plums into Sandra, were you? And he's like, hey. We're talking about the future. Don't change the subject. We're talking about that.
And not with vague, lofty platitudes, but with bold ideas and a clear plan that can change our society for the better and restore people's confidence and pride in our country. Now, I feel a profound sense of urgency.
I mean, do these people hear themselves? Do they? If he's talking about threats and, people taking away your pride in the country and, lofty platitudes, empty slogans. Have the Conservative Party ever heard of the Conservative Party? Have they? We have to introduce these two.
And not with vague, lofty platitudes.
Not with lofty platitudes. Platitudes like long-term decisions for a brighter future? Ready for Rishi? The party of tough decisions. And that's just Rishi Sunak's recent history of resets and all of that. His marketing. There's been so many of them before this. Theresa May's was something like building a country that works for everyone. Liz Truss, Boris Johnson. It's always just vague, ambiguous, sloganeered platitudes. Build back better. What does this mean? What do you actually mean? What do you mean? What does it mean? I mean, what does any of this stuff mean? What do you actually mean when you say you're going to build back better and levelling up and... Oh, I mean, it means absolutely nothing. Yeah, no, it's just empty, vapid nonsense to make you feel all, powered up and gooey about voting in the Tories again. And then while you're over there, distracted, feeling good and positive, yeah, we're over here selling this policy to these billionaires, looting the public purse, leaving the coffers starved and ruining the country for you. All right. Okay, well, thanks. Yeah, well, you're very welcome. Right, just one more thing, though. When I do start to cotton onto it, could you misinterpret my criticism of you as though I'm talking Britain down and instead move the political vantage point into the future and talk about how we could be great again? Could you do that for me? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You've been here before, haven't you?
Now, I feel a profound sense of urgency because more will change in the next 5 years than in the last 30. I'm convinced that the next few years will be some of the most dangerous, yet the most transformational that our country has ever known. So the question we face today is this: who has the clear plan and bold ideas to deliver a secure future for you and your family?
Oh, that's a thinker. That is, isn't it? Who's got the plan that's going to keep us safe? Is it the guys whose plans sequentially have failed over the last 14 years to improve any of our public services, our living standards, who have sent our children plummeting into child poverty, who have decimated the idea of social mobility? Who's got the plan is what's sooner. I love the way that they talk about this sort of mythical plan. The plan is working. Who's got the plan to do? Anyone could have a plan. It doesn't, just because you've got a plan doesn't mean success or that we should come running toward you. I mean, if history is any sort of indicator of the future that you want to, hold our hands and guide us through, if history's going to be the indicator, I would playfully speculate that your plans are going to fail at this as well. I mean, just because you have a plan doesn't mean it's going... I have a plan to physically enjoy the dirtiest of weekends with Mia Kunis. But my plans to do that, society has decided en masse that is not something that is going to take place. That's a similar conclusion that I think society has decided on the prospects of Rishi Sunak's Conservative Party. And whether we all will follow him. I can't talk this afternoon. Let's continue.
The dangers that threaten our country are real. They're increasing in number. An axis of authoritarian states like Russia, Iran, North Korea and China is working together.
I mean, here's the thing about this, right, is leave all of the snark, leave all of the, comedic stuff to the side for a second. Just focus on what he's actually asking us to believe here. He thinks that we're all morons and that we could look at him like he's the guy to lead us through these geopolitical challenges, right? Iran, China, Russia, spies, nuclear war, Ukraine, Hamas, all of these very tumultuous situations that are going on, right? Which he's right to say are very, very concerning. They're very dangerous. But what he's asking us to believe is that he, Rishi Sunak, that they, the Conservative Party, the people who have overseen cuts of 75 billion, I think that was it. It might have been more than that. I can't remember now off the top of my head. But it's in the tens of billions of austerity cuts to the armed forces. That the same guys who allowed Russian infiltration into their own financing, like Putin's ex-finance minister, his wife was the biggest donator to the Conservative Party over the last 10 years. Like playing tennis with Cameron, tennis with Johnson. These guys who allowed Chinese spies to install bugs in the Prime Minister's car, guys. These guys who allowed the Ministry of Defence to be hacked the other week. The payroll. Just out there in Beijing now, somewhere. Some spy in Beijing has got soldiers and Navy SEALs and top brass. All of their private banking details. He's seriously expecting us to believe that he and his party are the guys that are going to keep us safe. You're talking about a political party, a succession of governments held by the same people who lost, wasn't it like 100,000 criminal records? Just gone. They've lost undocumented asylum seekers. They won't go up against our geopolitical adversaries because they're in bed with most of them.
China has conducted cyber targeting of our democratically elected MPs. Russia has poisoned people with chemical weapons. And when Putin cut off the gas supplies, it had a devastating impact on people's lives and threatened our energy security.
Hang on.
And in this world of greater...
All right, look, let's. I'm just going to have to cut it there because this is just going to get too long. I just don't have the time in between being a father, a full-time job, doing podcasts and all that. I can't go through every single one of his ridiculous statements in this speech. But that is not what happened. Putin invaded Ukraine. Yes, that is true. There was disruption to the world's natural gas supplies because Russia is such a gigantic supplier of natural gas. That is also true. However, where do we buy our natural gas from again? Is it Russia? No, it's not, Aid. Where do we get ours from then? Norway, actually. Right, okay. So all of this rubbish that they always wheel out about Putin's illegal war in Russia sent people's energy bills skyrocket. That's got to be rubbish, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, Aid. Yeah, that is complete rubbish. Demonstrable rubbish by any half-clued up individual. Or anyone really with memory of that entire period. Yeah, because it's really weird, isn't it? They always talk about how we should make use of our own oil and gas in the North Sea, don't they? We should go up there and then drill it. But actually, they pull that out the ground, then they sell it on the open market, don't they, to every other country out there? Yes. Yeah, that's right, Ada. What they do is they sell off these oil and gas licenses to BP and Shell and Exxon, and then they extract it and they just sell it on the global markets. You're absolutely bang on. Right, okay. But then if we bought it in from Norway, then how come everyone's bills kind of went up so much? Well, it's because, Putin did turn off the tap, as it were, and then the open market, the free market price of cubic centimetres of natural gas did go up. So then these big oil and gas conglomerates just went, well, we've got no choice but to severely hike the price of our product. Oh, right. Okay. Good. So just to be clear, it wasn't Putin turning off the tap that sent everyone's energy bills skyrocketing. It was just profiteering, sociopathic, capitalist, ultra conglomerates. That's what we're saying, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. And then domestically, don't forget about the complete absence of a meaningful price cap, which meant that the energy companies, they just kept pushing it up and then adding hundreds of pounds onto your bills. You probably remember all of this stuff, don't you? Yeah. Yes, I do. Me from the other camera angle. I do. I also remember the government's refusal to nationalise any energy companies, even though the energy price guarantee, do you guys remember that, when you'd get a credit into your account to help cushion the blow? The cost of that scheme is in the tens of billions of pounds. For the same amount of money as cushioning the blow and not having any investment whatsoever, we could have nationalised an energy company. We would have an asset now. But, just to round off, if they had done that, obviously, there wouldn't be a big private oil gas corporation from whom to extract donation money and just deposit that over here in CCHQ. Oh, God, I bore myself with this stuff. It's all so tedious, isn't it? You guys know this. You know how it works. Right, I gotta go. If you are enjoying these rants and the alternative paper reviews, you might enjoy the podcast. Do give it a try. It's called Aid Thompson and Other Disappointments. I do it twice a week, usually a Tuesday night, and then again on a Friday night for a live stream. And if you're enjoying a few of those, maybe jump on the Patreon or the YouTube community. There are links to both in the description below. But right now, I've got to go, guys. I'm late for an appointment. I'm going to go and ask the guy that beat the shit out of me in school to be my bodyguard.